All right, ready to trade in the everyday for, well, Italy. Today's deep dive takes us straight to the heart of it.
And not just the Italy you see on those postcards everyone buys. We're going deeper, like way deeper, unearthing the stories hidden beneath those picture-perfect scenes.
Think of it this way. We've got a treasure map, this amazing YouTube documentary, Wonders of Italy, and it's packed with those hidden gems, volcanic islands, cave cities you wouldn't believe, and harbors that just radiate la dolce vita.
And here's the thing, we're not just here for the views, Rose, right? We're getting into the nitty-gritty, the why behind the wow. Why are these places more than just pretty to look at? Get ready for some serious cultural context.
And speaking of wow, how about we start with some islands born from, well, fire. The Aeolian Islands, just off Sicily.
Now, these islands, they're like this raw display of nature's power, you know? Imagine you're sailing this perfect blue sea and boom, these volcanic peaks just erupt from the water. One of them, Stromboli, they call it the lighthouse of the Mediterranean because it erupts so often.
It's like nature's own fireworks show, right? But get this, that whole fiery foundation, it's not just a spectacle. It's actually key to the island's whole ecosystem.
Absolutely. Think volcanic soil packed with minerals, giving life to plants and animals you won't find anywhere else. It even affects the flavor of their famous Malvasia wine, volcanic wine.
Volcanic wine. Okay, now that's something you don't hear every day. But as much as I love a good eruption, how about we trade those fiery landscapes for a burst of color? Brasida, here we come.
Procida, tiny but mighty. Remember that scene in The Talented Mr. Ripley? The one with that impossibly vibrant harbor?
Wait, are you telling me that was filmed on location? No way.
Yep. Marina Coricella, a kaleidoscope of buildings that tells a story of history and cultural fusion. It even earned Procida the title of Italy's capital of culture.
So it's got the looks and the cultural cred. I like it.
And it's been stealing hearts for ages. Alphonse de Lamartine, the poet, he set his novel Graziella on Procida, a story of young love against that unforgettable backdrop.
Okay, romantic poets, stunning harbors. But how about we switch gears to something a little more, shall we say, cinematic? This one's for all you Godfather fans.
I knew you'd appreciate this one. Savoca. Picture a village frozen in time, and I mean that literally. That bar, the Bar Vitelli, the real deal, right there in Savoca.
You're kidding. They filmed in that exact spot.
They did. But here's the thing, Savoca, it's way more than a movie set. This is a place where history is practically tangible. You know, take the Church of Santa Lucia, for example, 15th century, just incredible.
And if I'm remembering right, that church played a pretty important part in the movie, too.
It did indeed. Let's just say it involved the wedding, a pretty crucial scene, but no spoilers here.
All right, everyone listening, close your eyes for a sec. Picture rolling hills, sunlight filtering through cypress trees, lining a winding road. Are you picturing Tuscany? Because I'm picturing Tuscany.
You're picturing the Val d'Orcia, a landscape so essential to our idea of beauty. It's shaped Western art since the Renaissance. It's even a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
And let's be real, it's all about that relaxation factor, too. You've spent all day exploring those hilltop towns, and now, picture this, you're soaking in the thermal waters of Bagno Vignoni.
Not just any thermal baths, mind you. This is a Roman pool, the real deal, fed by natural springs and enjoyed for centuries.
History and a good soak, sign me up. Okay, from tranquil hills to a city perched on a cliff, let's head to Orvieto.
Now, Orvieto, it's a city with secrets, literally. Beneath those charming streets, there's this whole network of caves and tunnels and wells, like a secret world below.
Wait, hold up. A secret underground city? I need to hear more about this.
These underground spaces, they were vital to Orvieto's survival. Over the centuries, they used them for everything. Storing wine, sheltering livestock, even hiding from bombs during World War II.
Talk about a history lesson you can practically touch. But out of all that underground wonder, there's one that stands out, St. Patrick's Well.
Right. Talk about an engineering marvel. Picture a double helix staircase spiraling down into the earth, designed that way so mules carrying water wouldn't bump into each other. Ingenious.
Okay, so we've had volcanic islands, we've gone underground, ready to journey back in time. I'm talking way back.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this. Get ready for Matera, a city carved straight into the rock.
Matera, now this one's been on my list. Tell me more.
Imagine cave dwellings, the Sissi di Matera, inhabited since, get this, the Paleolithic era. It's like stepping back in time, witnessing human resilience across millennia.
Hold on, so these aren't just ancient ruins. People actually still live in these cave homes.
They do. It's amazing, this blend of ancient and modern all in one place. And it's even caught the eye of Hollywood, The Passion of the Christ, Ben-Hur. They've all used Matera as this timeless backdrop.
Okay, so we've had volcanoes, colorful harbors, a taste of Hollywood. Where to next?
From ancient caves to towering peaks. Get ready for the Dolomites, a place that'll seriously take your breath away.
When I hear Dolomites, I think jagged peaks, those dramatic landscapes, almost like another planet. Am I close?
You're spot on. Think soaring limestone, valleys dotted with lakes like Lake Braze. Pure wonder.
And you know me, I have to ask about the food. What's on the menu in the Dolomites?
Get ready for a fusion of Italian and Austrian flavors. We're talking hearty dishes like speck, which is a type of smoked prosciutto, and those warm apple strudels you can't resist.
Okay, you had me at strudel. But under those incredible views, there's a more, somber history too, right?
Sadly, yes. The Dolomites were a major battleground during World War I. You can still see trenches, old fortresses, these stark reminders of conflict amidst all that beauty.
Beauty and history, all intertwined. Makes you think, doesn't it? But for now, let's travel to a city that embodies cultural fusion, Trieste.
Trieste, yes. This one's for the coffee lovers out there, and I mean serious coffee lovers.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I know Italy's known for coffee, but what makes Trieste stand out?
Think back to the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Obsessed with coffee they were. And Trieste, their main port. That legacy lives on. Traditional cafes, the famous Illy coffee brand, it's a way of life there.
So it's like Italian coffee culture with a twist.
Exactly. Even the way they drink it is different. But there's more to Trieste than just caffeine. It has this rich literary history, too. Did you know James Joyce, the Ulysses guy? He's been a good chunk of his life there.
James Joyce in Trieste. Now that's a fun fact. Maybe we'll dive into his Italian adventures another time. But for now, let's shift gears completely. From coffee-fueled creativity, we're stepping way back in time to a civilization frozen in ash.
Pompeii and Herculaneum. Get ready to be awestruck, because we're talking about two Roman cities stopped dead in their tracks by Mount Vesuvius.
It's like a snapshot of the past, right?
Exactly. Pompeii is haunting. You can still see the plaster casts of the victims frozen in their final moments, a powerful reminder of nature's power and, well, life's fragility.
And what about Herculaneum?
Herculaneum offers a different kind of glimpse into the past. Imagine a wealthy Roman's library, perfectly preserved by the volcanic ash. The Villa of the Papyri, it's called. And it's a goldmine for understanding Roman thought.
It makes you wonder what we're unintentionally preserving for future generations. But from one ancient civilization to another, our next stop is Sicily, and I have a feeling this one's going to be epic.
Get ready to channel your inner Indiana Jones as we explore Agrigento, home to the Valley of the Temples.
Okay, Valley of the Temples sounds pretty impressive, but are we talking about ruins here, or is there something more?
Oh, it's way more than just ruins. Imagine walking through a landscape dotted with these remarkably preserved Doric temples, bathed in that golden Sicilian light. The Temple of Concordia, specifically, it's architectural poetry.
And it's all just out in the open, like stepping back in time.
Exactly. A true testament to the Greeks. But Agrigento's got another claim to fame, too. It's the birthplace of Luigi Pirandello, a Nobel Prize-winning playwright.
So we've got ancient Greek temples, A&D, a Nobel Prize winner. Agrigento, you've got my attention.
Speaking of captivating places, our next stop looks like something straight out of a storybook.
Get ready for Alberobello, a town where the houses themselves are the main attraction.
Okay, we have to talk about these houses. I've seen pictures, but I need details.
Picture this. You're wandering through winding streets, and all around you are these whitewashed houses with these cone-shaped roofs called trulli, like something out of a dream. And get this, they were built that way to avoid taxes.
Wait, tax-dodging houses. Tell me more. No kidding. Back in the day, they had a tax on permanent structures. So these resourceful folks built these truly easy to dismantle if the tax collector came knocking.
Brilliant. That's thinking outside the box, literally. But there's more to Alberobello than just these creaky houses, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a hub for traditional crafts. Ceramics, textiles, you name it. All handmade with techniques passed down for generations.
Adding Alberobello to my must-visit list for sure. From fairy tale towns to ancient cities, our next stop is Sardinia, and I'm ready to be wowed.
Get ready to step back in time in Cagliari, a city where history is literally built into the walls.
Cagliari, okay, this one's new to me. What's the highlight reel?
Picture this. You're walking through Cagliari, surrounded by architecture that whispers tales of Phoenician, Carthaginian, even Roman rule.
Wow, so we're talking about a true blend of cultures.
Absolutely. And here's a fun fact. Cagliari is home to the Montargis Saline Regional Park.
Okay, a saline park. What's so special about that?
Well, picture yourself strolling through salt flats and suddenly a flock of flamingos takes flight.
Flamingos!
In the city.
You bet. It's proof that nature can thrive in the most unexpected places.
Okay, that's just wild. From flamingos to mosaics, our Italian adventure continues. What's next? Get ready for a visual feast as we explore Ravenna, a city famous for its Byzantine mosaics.
Now, when I think mosaics, I'll admit, I think of those little craft projects we did as kids. What makes Ravenna's mosaics so special?
Imagine stepping into a world where the walls come alive with color and light. Ravenna's mosaics, they're made from thousands of pieces of glass and stone, forming these intricate scenes. The Basilica of San Vitale, the Mausoleum of Galla Placidia, they're absolutely breathtaking.
Sounds incredible. But Ravenna has more to offer than just visual art.
You're right. It was also the final resting place of Dante Alighieri, the guy who wrote the Divine Comedy. Imagine walking the same streets as one of literature's giants.
Okay, from literary giants to breathtaking coastal views, what's next on our itinerary?
Get ready to be captivated by Taormina, a Sicilian town perched on a cliff overlooking the Ionian Sea.
Ah, Taormina. Isn't it known for having some of the most stunning views in all of Sicily?
It really is something else. Imagine sitting in an ancient Greek theater with Mount Etna, Europe's largest active volcano, on one side, and the vast expanse of the Ionian Sea on the other.
Okay, that's what I call a view. And what about this Greek theater? Is it just ruins, or is there more to see?
It's actually remarkably well preserved. You can almost hear the echoes of ancient plays as you walk those stone steps. And just off the coast, there's Isola Bella, this tiny island nature reserve with crystal clear water, the perfect place to relax and soak up the Sicilian sun.
Sounds idyllic, but let's be real, it wouldn't be an Italian adventure without talking about food. What culinary delights await us in Taormina?
Oh, Sicilian cuisine is truly a sensory experience. Think fresh seafood, sun-ripened tomatoes, fragrant herbs. And of course, no trip to Sicily is complete without trying cannoli.
You had me at cannoli, but from one charming town to another, let's head back to Puglia, to a place they call the White City.
Welcome to Tuscany. It's this stunning town of whitewashed buildings, winding streets, colorful flowers spilling from balconies.
And I have to ask, why? What's the story behind the whitewashed buildings?
Well, it's not just for aesthetics, though it certainly is beautiful. You see, the whitewash is made from lime, which actually helps to reflect the sun's heat, keeps the buildings cool, and as a bonus, it acts as a natural disinfectant.
Practical and pretty. I'm sold. But Tuscany's beauty goes beyond the city itself, right?
Absolutely. The surrounding countryside is full of these ancient olive groves, producing some of Italy's finest olive oil.
Just the thought of it is making my mouth water. But from the White City to a city of 2 levels, let's continue our journey.
Get ready to explore Bergamo, a city that effortlessly blends medieval charm with modern energy.
Bergamo. Now, I've heard this one's divided into 2 distinct parts. What's the story there?
Bergamo's a city of contrasts. You've got the Città Alta, the upper town, perched on a hilltop, surrounded by Venetian walls. And then there's the bustling Città Bassa, the lower town, spread out below.
So the historic heart up high and the modern city below.
Exactly. And the best way to experience both is by taking the funicular, a cable car, up to the Città Alta.
What awaits us up there?
Imagine cobblestone streets, medieval squares, stunning palazzos, and the views. Absolutely breathtaking. You can see the entire city below and the countryside beyond.
Sounds like the perfect place to wander and get lost in history. But our Italian journey isn't over yet. Where to next?
From a city of contrasts to a city of peace and spirituality, let's journey to Assisi, the birthplace of St. Francis.
Assisi. I've always heard it described as this incredibly serene and spiritual place.
And it truly is. Imagine walking down those narrow cobblestone streets, surrounded by these ancient stone buildings, the scent of incense in the air. The Basilica of St. Francis, it dominates the town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, drawing pilgrims and art lovers from around the world.
And St. Francis himself, what was he known for?
He was known for his profound love for nature, for all creatures, for peace and understanding. He founded the Franciscan order, which, as you know, is still going strong today.
It's amazing how one person's legacy can echo through centuries. Okay, from spiritual reflection to natural wonders, our Italian adventure continues. What's next?
Get ready to be enchanted by the island of Capri. It's a place of stunning natural beauty and timeless glamour.
Ah, Capri.
Yeah.
Practically synonymous with La Dolce Vita, right?
Absolutely. Think azure waters, dramatic cliffs, lush vegetation. Capri's been a playground for the rich and famous for centuries, attracting artists, writers, celebrities. Everyone wants a taste of Capri.
So what's the absolute must-see when you're in Capri?
The Blue Grotto. It's this sea cave that's illuminated by this otherworldly blue light. It's a natural wonder that will leave you speechless.
Okay, you've convinced me. Blue Grotto, here I come.
Yeah.
But there's more to Capri than just caves, right?
Oh, tons. It's steeped in history and culture. It was a favored spot for Roman emperors, and it's been featured in countless works of art and literature.
It really sounds like the perfect blend of natural beauty, history, and a touch of glamour.
Speaking of breathtaking beauty, up next is Italy's largest lake. Get ready for Lake Garda.
Lake Garda. When I picture it, I see these charming little towns surrounded by mountains right on the water. Am I close?
You're exactly right. Lake Garda is a gem. History, natural beauty, outdoor adventure, it's all there. Picture colorful villages, ancient castles on cliffs, crystal clear water, perfect for swimming, sailing, windsurfing, you name it.
It's like a choose-your-own-adventure vacation spot. And speaking of adventure, I've heard Lake Garda is a windsurfer's dream.
Oh, absolutely. The wind there is perfect for catching some air. And the scenery. Forget about it. It's like something out of a movie.
Adding windsurfing on Lake Garda to my bucket list as we speak. But let's get back to those charming towns you mentioned. Any standouts?
Don't miss Sirmione. It's home to the Scaliger Castle, a medieval fortress that rises straight out of the lake.
A castle on a lake. No, that's just cool. From lakes to coastlines, get ready for a destination that's practically synonymous with Italian beauty. The Amalfi Coast.
Ah, the Amalfi Coast. Imagine dramatic cliffs plunging into turquoise waters, pastel-colored villages clinging to the hillsides, and the scent of lemon trees everywhere you go.
Seems dreamy. What's the one thing we absolutely cannot miss on the Amalfi Coast?
You have to hike the Path of the Gods. It's a trail that winds along the cliffs with views that will seriously blow your mind.
Okay, sold. But I have to ask, how hard is this hike? Am I going to need to train for this thing?
It's a moderate hike, but those views are worth every step, I promise. Just make sure to pack your camera because you'll want to capture every angle.
From breathtaking hikes to how about some wine? Our next stop is a place that's as unique as it is beautiful. Cinque Terre.
Ugh, Cinque Terre. 5 charming villages connected by this network of trails, clinging to the Italian Riviera like colorful jewels.
Now, I've heard it's a hiker's paradise, but is it as challenging as everyone says?
The trails can be a bit steep in places, but trust me, the views are worth every drop of sweat. Imagine terraced vineyards cascading down to the sea, colorful houses, that salty air mixed with wildflowers.
Okay, you've convinced me. But let's talk about those vineyards for a second. What kind of wine do they make in Cinque Terre?
Their claim to fame is a dessert wine called Siachatra. It's sweet, amber-colored, and it just perfectly captures the essence of Cinque Terre.
And it's made with grapes grown on those steep terraces. Now that's impressive. Speaking of impressive, how about we end on a romantic note?
Oh, I like where you're going with this. Next stop, Lake Como.
Lake Como. Now this is a place that's been on my bucket list forever. Deep blue water, surrounded by mountains, those charming villages, elegant villas.
You're painting quite the picture. Lake Como is truly a place of timeless beauty. It's no wonder it's a haven for artists, writers, and of course, the rich and famous.
Speaking of the rich and famous, I've heard George Clooney has a place there.
He does. But celebrity sightings aside, Lake Como is captivating all on its own. Imagine strolling through those charming villages, taking a boat ride across the lake, maybe indulging in a little luxury at one of the elegant hotels.
Sold. Lake Como, you're next on my list. But let's not forget about those charming villages you mentioned. Any must-sees.
Bellagio is a must. They call it the Pearl of Lake Como, and it sits right where the two southern arms meet, so the views are incredible.
From breathtaking lakes to a city steeped in maritime history, our journey continues.
Get ready to explore Genoa, the birthplace of Christopher Columbus.
Genoa. You know, I always forget that Christopher Columbus was Italian.
It's true. Back in the day, Genoa was a powerhouse, a maritime republic to rival Venice.
So what's on the must-see list for Genoa?
Don't miss the Historic Center. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's like stepping back in time.
And I imagine no trip to Genoa would be complete without sampling the local cuisine, right?
Absolutely not. Genoa is the birthplace of pesto, so you have to try it there.
Okay, my stomach is officially rumbling. But from maritime history to romantic tragedy, our next stop is all about love, loss, and, well, a very famous balcony.
Get ready to be swept away by the romance of Verona, the setting for Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet.
Verona. Okay, tell me it's true. Can you actually visit Juliet's balcony?
You can. Now, It's more of a tourist attraction than a historically accurate spot, but it's still a must-see for romantics from all over the world.
And what else is on the Verona itinerary?
You can't miss the arena. It's this incredibly well-preserved Roman amphitheater that hosts opera performances during the summer.
So we've got romance, history, and opera. What more could you ask for? But from the romantic streets of Verona, we're off to a city known for its culinary delights and its need for speed.
Next up, Modena, the heart of Italy's Motor Valley.
Modena. I'll admit I know more about the cars than the city itself.
It's understandable. Modena is the home of Ferrari, Maserati, Lamborghini. It's a car lover's paradise.
But Modena isn't just about fast cars, is it? I've also heard it's a foodie's dream come true.
You heard right. Modena is famous for its balsamic vinegar, produced using traditional methods that have been passed down for generations.
Okay, so we've got fast cars and delicious vinegar. I'm in. But from Modena, we journeyed to another culinary capital, and this one's a personal favorite.
Get ready to indulge your taste buds in Parma, a city famous for its prosciutto and Parmesan cheese.
Oh, Parma, you had me at prosciutto. But there's more to Parma than just delicious food, right?
Of course. Parma is also home to the Teatro Regio, a stunning opera house that hosts the prestigious Verdi Festival every year.
From opera to academia, our next stop takes us to one of the oldest universities in the world.
Get ready to be inspired by the intellectual legacy of Padua.
Now, I have to admit, Padua is one city I don't know much about. What makes it so special?
Well, for starters, the University of Padua was founded way back in 1222. It's one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in the world. We're talking Galileo Galilei taught there.
Wow, Galileo Galilei, that's some serious academic history.
Right. But Padua is not just about the university. It's also home to the Scrovegni Chapel, an absolute masterpiece of Italian art. Those frescoes by Giotto, breathtaking.
History, art, academia. Padua is sounding more intriguing by the minute. But from the hallowed halls of academia to a charming walled city, our journey continues.
Next up, Lucca, a Tuscan town encircled by Renaissance walls.
When you say encircled by walls, are we talking about actual intact walls?
We are. Lucca's walls are amazingly well preserved. They form a ring around the entire historic center, and today they're a beautiful park, perfect for a stroll or a bike ride. And the views of the town are incredible.
A city within a park. How cool is that? But there's more to Lucca than just its walls, right?
Right. It's also the birthplace of Giacomo Puccini, the famous opera composer. You can even visit his childhood home, which is now a museum.
From opera to, how about a little tilt? Our next stop takes us to one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world.
Get ready to be amazed by Pisa, home of the iconic Leaning Tower.
Pisa. Okay, I have to admit, I'm a little obsessed with the Leaning Tower. Is it really as crooked as it looks in photos?
It really is, and even more impressive in person.
But Pisa's more than just a leaning tower, right?
Absolutely. It's home to the Piazza dei Miracoli, or Square of Miracles. It's got the Pisa Cathedral, the baptistry, just stunning.
And did you know that Pisa was once a major naval power, even rivaling Genoa and Venice? Wow, I had no idea. From leaning towers to a city steeped in medieval splendor, our Italian adventure continues. What's up next?
Get ready to be captivated by Siena, a city famous for its Palio, a historic horse race held twice each summer.
The Palio. I've heard so much about it. It's more than just a horse race, though, isn't it? It's a whole event.
It really is. Imagine the whole city decked out in pageantry, costumes, with this intense rivalry as the different neighborhoods compete for glory.
And it all happens right in the heart of the city.
Right in the heart of it. They transformed the Piazza del Campo, the main square, into a racetrack.
Now, that's what I call a bucket list experience.
Yeah.
But Siena's more than just the Palio, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Make sure to climb the Torre da Mangia. It's this tall tower that gives you panoramic views of the entire city and the surrounding countryside.
Okay, Siena's officially on my list. From medieval horse races to, how about some chocolate? Our Italian adventure continues, and this time, it's getting delicious.
Get ready to indulge your sweet tooth in Perugia, a city famous for its chocolate.
You had me at chocolate, but what makes Perugia's chocolate scene so special?
Well, for starters, it's home to Perugina, the company that makes those bouncy chocolates, you know, the ones with the little love notes. And if that's not enough, they even host a massive chocolate festival called Euro Chocolate every year.
A whole festival dedicated to chocolate? Sign me up. But Perugia has more to offer than just sweet treats, right?
Of course. It's also home to the National Gallery of Umbria, which has an amazing collection of Renaissance art.
From chocolate to art, Perugia sounds like a city after my own heart. But we're not done with Italy just yet. Where to next?
Get ready to experience the unique charm of Bologna, a city famous for its porticos, its university, and its delicious cuisine.
Bologna. This city has been on my travel list forever. What should I be most excited about?
Oh, where do I even begin? Bologna's got nicknames for days. La Dotta, which means the learned, for its university the oldest in the Western world. La Rossa, or the Red, for its terracotta rooftops. And last but not least, La Grassa, or the Fat, for its incredible food scene.
I love it. A city with nicknames, but you mentioned porticos. What are those exactly?
Picture this. You're strolling through the city, sheltered from the sun or rain by these elegant covered walkways. Bologna has miles of them.
It sounds like the perfect place to just wander no matter the weather. But let's talk about that La Grassa nickname for a minute. What's one Bolognese dish I absolutely have to try?
You can't go to Bologna without trying the tagliatelle al ragu. It's a classic, made with flat pasta noodles and a rich meat sauce.
Okay, now I'm starving. But from porticos and pasta to, how about a little mystery? Our next stop takes an unexpected turn.
Get ready to explore the captivating and slightly eerie side of Sicily as we delve into the catacombs of Palermo.
Catacombs. Okay, this is new. What can you tell me about them?
Beneath the bustling streets of Palermo, there's this network of tunnels, known as the Capuchin Catacombs. But these aren't your average catacombs. Imagine walking through dimly lit tunnels, and on either side of you are mummified bodies.
Wait, mummies? Like in Egypt?
Not quite like Egypt, but close. These are the naturally preserved remains of thousands of Palermitans. Monks, priests, even everyday people, all dressed in their finest clothes.
Okay, that's both fascinating and a little creepy, I have to admit. I'm intrigued. But let's shift gears from the macabre to a city that played a pivotal role in Italian history. What's next?
Get ready to discover Turin, the first capital of modern Italy.
Turin, another city I need to explore more. What should be at the top of my list?
Turin is full of surprises. It was the first capital of a unified Italy, and it houses the Shroud of Turin.
The Shroud of Turin? Oh, that's a blast from the past. It's that piece of linen. Some people believe it was the burial cloth of Jesus, right?
That's the one. It's a fascinating relic, shrouded in mystery, controversy, you name it. But even if religious history isn't really your thing, Turin's got a lot going for it.
Okay, like what? Give me some Turin highlights.
Well, are you a car person at all? Because Turin is the birthplace of Fiat, no less. They've got the National Automobile Museum. You could spend all day there.
Not a huge car buff, to be honest. Anything else that might pique my interest?
If you've got a sweet tooth, Turin's known for its chocolate. Gentoo Auto, specifically little chocolate hazelnut treats that are, well, heavenly.
Chocolate A&D hazelnuts. Okay, you've officially sold me on Turin, but enough about chocolate for now. Let's talk about a city that needs no introduction. Rome.
Rome, the eternal city. It's one of those places that lives up to the hype,
It really is. Hard to imagine a trip to Italy without at least a few days in Rome. But with so much to see, where do you even begin?
Honestly, we could do a whole episode on Rome alone. But if we're talking must-sees, gotta start with the Colosseum.
The Colosseum. That massive amphitheater, gladiators, lions, the whole 9 yards. Is it as impressive as it looks in pictures?
Even more so in person. Imagine the crowds, the noise, the energy. You practically feel like you're back in ancient Rome.
And it's still standing after all these centuries.
Right. Roman engineering at its finest.
Okay, so Colosseum, check. What else is on our Roman to-do list?
Well, you can't go to Rome without tossing a coin in the Trevi Fountain.
The Trevi Fountain. Who hasn't daydreamed about making that wish with the coin over the shoulder?
It's practically a requirement for first-time visitors. That legend, right? Throw a coin in, you're guaranteed to return to Rome someday.
I think I've single-handedly funded their fountain restoration at this point. But Rome isn't all ancient history and iconic landmarks, is it?
No way. Rome is this amazing blend of old and new. You've got bustling markets, those little hidden trattorias serving up incredible pasta, and then there's neighborhoods like Trastevere with a whole different vibe.
It's about finding those little moments, right? Like that perfect courtyard hidden away or savoring a gelato as the sun sets over the city.
Exactly. Rome is a city made for wandering and discovering.
Speaking of wandering, our next stop is, well, it's a city built on water, which always blows my mind.
Venice.
Yeah.
The floating city. Now that's what I call romantic.
It's one of those places I've always wanted to see, but is it really as magical as everyone says?
Even more so. Picture this. You're gliding along those canals in a gondola, under ancient bridges, those grand palazzos rising up on either side.
Sounds like something out of a dream. But Venice isn't just about the canals, is it?
Definitely not. It's got history, art, culture. You have to see St. Mark's Basilica. It's Byzantine art at its finest. And the Doge's Palace, A glimpse into Venice's powerful past.
So we've got history, art, those iconic canals. What more could you ask for?
And the food. Venetian cuisine is in a league of its own. Fresh seafood, unique flavors.
Okay, I'm convinced. Venice, here I come.
And don't forget comfy shoes. Venice is best explored on foot. Getting lost in those narrow streets is part of the fun.
We can't talk about Venice without mentioning Acqua Alta, right? Those high tides that flood the city.
Ah, Acqua Alta. It's a good reminder of how we adapt to our environment, even when it's constantly trying to, well, reclaim what it once owned.
It's kind of beautiful and intimidating at the same time. You've got this incredible city built on water, but you're always aware that nature's in charge, you know?
It's a delicate balance, that's for sure. But that's part of what makes Venice so unique.
Speaking of unique, our next stop is practically a synonym for Italian food, wouldn't you say?
Get ready to eat your heart out in Naples, the birthplace of pizza.
Naples. Pizza, sunshine, Mount Vesuvius, keeping watch. What's not to love?
Naples is bursting with life, energy, and of course, delicious food.
So, is it true? Can you really get the best pizza in the world in Naples?
Absolutely. Legend has it that the margherita pizza was invented right there in Naples in honor of Queen Margherita of Savoy.
I've always wanted to try authentic Neapolitan pizza.
Won't disappoint. Simple, fresh ingredients, wood-fired ovens, that's the key.
What about the coffee? I've heard Neapolitan espresso is next level.
Oh, you heard right. They're serious about their coffee in Naples. You have to try a cafe sospeso.
Cafe sospeso? What's that?
It's a Neapolitan tradition. You pay for 2 coffees, one for you, one for someone who can't afford it. An act of kindness built into their coffee culture.
Okay, I love that. Coffee with a side of generosity. But we can't talk about Naples without mentioning Vesuvius, right? Looming over the city like that.
Right. It's this constant presence reminding you of nature's power and how fragile life really is.
It's incredible that they rebuilt the city after such a devastating eruption.
It really speaks to the resilience of the human spirit, doesn't it?
Speaking of resilience, our next stop is a global capital of fashion, design, art, you name it.
Get ready for Milan.
Milan. Fashion, shopping, that incredible Duomo, it's iconic.
It's all that and more. Milan has this energy, this sophistication, but it's not all about the glamour, you know.
So what else should we add to our Milan itinerary?
Well, the Duomo is a must-see, obviously. One of the most stunning Gothic cathedrals in the world.
And it took almost 6 centuries to complete. Now that's dedication. But let's talk art for a minute. What should be on every art lover's Milan list?
Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. It's at the Santa Maria delle Grazie, and it's truly breathtaking.
The Last Supper, a true masterpiece. It's amazing that we can still see these works of art centuries later.
The power of art, right.
Speaking of power, our Italian adventure ends in a city that's often called the birthplace of the Renaissance.
Get ready to be inspired by Florence.
Florence, art, history, beauty. It's legendary.
There's truly nowhere else like it. Florence is a city for wandering, for discovering hidden treasures around every corner.
With so much to see, where do we even start?
You have to see the Duomo, with that incredible dome by Brunelleschi. And of course, the Uffizi Gallery is a must. Michelangelo, Leonardo, Botticelli, they're all there.
The Uffizi, that's the one with Botticelli's Birth of Venus.
Right. That's the one. One of the most famous paintings in the world.
And Michelangelo's David. I've always wanted to see that in person.
You'll find it at the Galleria dell'Accademia. Truly awe-inspiring.
But there's more to Florence than churches and museums, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Florence has this vibrant street life. You have to walk across the Ponte Vecchio, the only bridge in Florence that survived World War II, and spend some time in the old Trarno neighborhood.
Okay, I'm ready to book my flight right now.
And don't forget to enjoy a glass of Chianti. Tuscan wine is not to be missed.
From Chianti to Limoncello, our Italian adventure has taken us from the Alps to Sicily. Ancient ruins, colorful cities. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, but we've only scratched the surface of what Italy has to offer.
Wow, what a journey this has been. I mean, we just dipped our toes into Italy, and I'm already feeling inspired, you know?
That's the thing about Italy. It stays with you long after you've left.
Yeah, it really does. I feel like we barely scratched the surface of each place, and I'm already planning my next trip back.
That's the beauty of a deep dive like this one, though, right?
Yeah.
It's not about checking things off a list. It's about sparking that curiosity,
Yeah.
making you want to experience it all for yourself.
It's funny, we started with those volcanic islands, all fire and fury, and we ended in Florence, a city that's all about art and rebirth.
There's a metaphor in there somewhere, right? About Italy itself. It's seen it all, tumultuous times, incredible
It's
bursts of creativity.
it's like that saying, what is it? Out of the ashes.
Rises the phoenix, exactly. And Italy, man, they've embodied that whole idea of resilience.
You know, going through all these places, I keep thinking about those little details, the things that really stick with you, those aha moments.
Me too. Those are the things that make a place unforgettable, right?
Like, who could forget about those Trulli houses in Alberobello, built to avoid taxes? Pure genius.
Or the flamingos in Cagliari. Like, who expects to see flamingos in a city? Nature finds a way, I guess.
And those staircases in Orvieto, that double helix design, it's little things like that. That's what brings history to life.
They make you want to book a ticket right then and there.
Speaking of which, I bet our listeners are already planning their Italian getaways.
I hope so. But remember, it's not about seeing it all. It's about finding those places that resonate with you, the ones that call your name.
So true. Art, history, food, sunshine, whatever you're looking for, Italy's got it.
Buon viaggio, as they say.
And hey, who knows? Maybe we'll bump into you on our next Italian venture. Until then, ciao for now.